Okay, class. We are logging in again online. Let's take a look at the syllabus. As you can see in the class calendar, today is the 19th, and we should finishing chapter 4. And next 2 weeks, we're gonna go over chapter 5. Again, next week, everybody, that's a 5th week of school, everybody should log in again as you did today. Those of you those are not done with practice the practice test or my math test, please do that. I emailed everyone who are not done with test number 1. So you should really be done with that test number 1. You don't want to pile things up here. We should all be done with chapter 2 and 3. We should be done with the practice test for chapter 2 and 3, and also my math test. If you got the lowest score on my math test, you should follow the instructions, again, posted here. It says how to improve your scores in my math test. Please go over that, go over this clip here, and follow that to improve your grade. It's a little clip about how to do that. And as I said, we should be done with chapter 4 this week, and go over chapter 5 next 2 weeks. So for next 2 weeks, we're gonna also log in, completing chapter 4 and 5, and that on the 7th week, we all come here on campus to take test number 1 on campus, first on campus is number 1, which includes chapter 2 to 5. By that time, we should be done with 2 practice tests and 2 online tests on my math test, and work on the study plan. One of the things I added here, I don't know if you noticed or not, in addition to the practice final exam, which I had already here in this link, I added the latest practice final exam. This is the practice final exam, the very latest one, which is very similar actually to the other one. So when you click on that, you would see 7 pages, and I already worked on problem number 1, 2, 3 last time. So you can review that, and you can keep working on these as you explore each section or chapter. And I keep working on these problems every week. So this week I'm going to pick up the problems that are related to chapters 2, 3, and 4, because these are the chapters that we should be done with it, and also we're working on it for chapter 4. So whatever problem related to these chapters, I'm going to continue working on that and post them here for you to review. So this is what I'm going to work on today. But before I do that, if you guys have any questions about anything, now is the time to ask. So if I go back to Canvas, there is a Multimedia Library, as you should know where they are. Let's open that as well. So this one, all the resources are under this page. All the problems that I do for practice final exam is going to be on bottom of the page here where it says practice final exam. The ones that's more review for practice final exam, this is pretty much all the problems in order. This is a copy of very similar problems to the one that's already posted, and the one I did last time is also get accumulated here. So this is another place you should look for a copy of the practice final. There's another one that I've done throughout the years, and you can see there are a lot more. These problems are very similar to the one that you already have. So we have 2 practice final that we're concentrating on. One is the one I just showed you, and the one is the newest one that I'm working on this semester. Okay, so I'm going to pause the recording for right now and start working on math questions. And from here on, any math problem we do is going to get accumulated into proper place, and also it will accumulate it under class lectures. So I had another link here called class lecture. So any problem we do in class, I'm going to title them and post them here. So these are all the class lecture that we've done previously related to math questions and problems that we need to move on with that and get prepared for the final exam.
Professor, there's something in the chat.
Yes, I'm gonna. I was about to pause the recording so I can go ahead and work on that for you. Sure. All right. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay. So let me go ahead and pause recording at this point, and then go over the math questions. Pause recording. Wow. Okay. We have one question regarding how to prepare for the exams and how that material in the ebook relate to what we're doing here. Pretty much you need to start with Multimedia Library. This is what I showed you earlier. So when you go to the Multimedia Library section, which is right here, okay. You ultimately want, like for this coming test that you're going to have in a few weeks, you should prepare for this instructor practice test. This instructor practice number 1, which includes chapter 2 and 3, and they're in module 1 and module 2, and also this other instructor practice test, which is a step-by-step solution for every problem, is posted next to it. Now, these are the topics that pretty much you want to review for those sections. So, for instance, for chapter 2, we are looking at equations and inequality, and these are the topics for each section. These topics are by itself is enough for you to follow to understand the practice test. Again, the ebook test is just the free ebook from the OpenStack, which basically give you additional information. You don't really need any of these. So what you want to do is you want to go through each section as needed. I suggest you go over the PowerPoint first, and then look at examples, and then ultimately you want to complete this instructor practice test, because your test is going to be very similar to this and this one. So these are the 2 practice tests that you have to master by going over these sections. I wouldn't even bother with the textbook at this point, because you have all the information you need separated over here. And for the final exam is, once we master this final exam and the one that I'm working on each week, that's 30% of your grade. And that's what you need to study for understanding all the material and passing the final and all the exams. So pretty much you want to start with the Multimedia Library and the examples, and see if you can finish this instructor practice test 1 and 2 before the first exam. So I hope I answered your question. If not, let me know. Here it says find g of a plus 1 when g of x is given to me as 1/2 x plus 2. So you're going to start with writing what g of x is. If g of x is equal to 1/2 x plus 2, from here I can find anything I want. I can find g of 0, g of 1, g of 2. Let's just, for example, what would be g of 0, anyone? G of 0 would be substituting for each x in g function 0. Really, it's like you say evaluate g of x when x is equal to 0. This is what it means by g of 0. So this is like 0, that would be just 2. Okay. So if I ask you what is g of 5 is, you just substitute for each x5 and so on. If I ask you what g of w is, it could be a variable. G of w would be 1/2 w plus 2, and so on. So if I wanted to find what is g of a plus 1 is, that's all you have to do, is just substitute for each x, a plus 1. So it would be 1/2 times a plus 1 plus 2. And then we have to pick one of these choices here for the final exam. So I'm going to go ahead and distribute this. Would be 1/2 a plus 1/2, and I distribute this, plus 2, or 2 over 1. So it looks like I can combine these two. The LCD is 2. I'm going to multiply this by 2 over 2. So this whole thing would be equal to 1/2 a plus 1/2 plus 4/2, which would be 6/2. So this whole thing would be equal to 1/2 a plus 4 plus 1 would be 5/2, 5/2. That's one way to write it. And then we have to see if any of these are there. We have 1/2 a plus 2, that cannot be it. 1/2 a minus 2 is not it. But these two looks like they're combining them. So let's go ahead and combine this. If I combine this LCD is 2, the top should be a plus 5 then. So it looks like a plus 5/2d would be the correct choice for that one. Find composition of f respect to g. So this little symbol here, f, the little circle of g of x, means f of g of x. So the first step is to translate this little funny symbol here into what it is. In this case, means f of g of x. Or if this were other way around, if this were g of f of x, means again same g of f of x. So in this case is f of g of x, so we write it f of g of x. So what is g of x? So g of x is given to me here. They're saying that g of x equal to x squared minus 6. So here is really evaluating f of x squared minus 6. That's all I'm just doing here. I'm substituting the value for g of x from what's given to me into this formula. So we really find, you're asking you to find f of x squared minus 6. Okay, but how do you find f of anything? You have to go to f function. Okay, f function is 9x plus 5. And we know how to evaluate f of x squared minus 6. Okay, so everywhere I see x, I'm going to put x squared minus 6 plus 5. So this would be f of x squared minus 6. So I need to expand this to see which one of these are the correct choice for me. So here I'm going to go ahead and distribute. So here I get 9x squared minus 54 plus 5. So here I have 9x squared minus 54 plus 5. So I need to subtract them. So it would be minus 49. So this would be equal to 9x squared. This would be minus 49. This is composition of f respect to x, or f of g of x. Okay, and it looks like B is the correct choice here, 9x squared minus 49. Okay, so we are looking at one of the students' progress in my math test. So go ahead and click on the results, please. So when you complete the test, you see it looks like you took test number 1 here, and you receive your score. Now, if you click on review, go ahead and click on the review.
Okay, okay.
When you click on the review, it show you what problem you've done and how you responded. So the best way to look at it is to click on this little arrow. You see this little arrow up here? Right?
Yeah.
Middle of the page, not arrow down.
Oh.
Click on arrow down so you can see all the problems that you've done. So if you scroll down, you see you made a mistake on problem number 5, right? Number 8,
yeah,
and so on. So what I suggest is click on problem number 5. Okay, and then you see this reference number here, MC 11.3-23.
yes.
Okay, so this is the reference number you want to write next to question number 5 on the piece of paper. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to do the same thing right now. So I'm going to write question number 5, and the reference number next to it is 11.3.23. Let's go ahead and click on the arrow down again one more time, please, so we can see the list of the question. I'm going to do one more. Let's go. The next problem looks like 11, right? Click on number 11, and then the reference number is 10.3.39. So you need to, for every problem you see an X next to it, you need to go ahead and write down the reference number. When you're done with all that, just go ahead and close this page to the right.
Okay.
Okay, now to the right, it says close. You see that?
Okay.
Just close this page. Because now we're going to go to the study plan. Go ahead and click on the study plan. Okay, so there is a pin next to each of those problems that we looked at the reference. 11.3, you see right here, sure enough, there's a pin next to it. Go ahead and click on that, please. 11.3, that was the first problem. So these are the problems that you should practice to master that one question. Click on practice, please, on the first one. You don't necessarily have to do the quiz, just as long as you do practice. So go ahead and click on the arrow down under that 5 question they click select for you. So as you can see, there are 5 problems here. Now, if you don't know how to do any of this problem, click on question help. You see question help on the right side? Yes. So instead of clicking on help me solve this, click on view an example. Go ahead and click on view an example. And click on continue. So you can see it shows step by step how to do each of these problems, and you can go back and finish that problem if you don't know how to do it.
Okay.
Also, if you click on the question help again, for most problems, you sometimes not the question help on the problem right there. You can close that right there. So you can also forward that question to me, ask my instructor. That question will get forwarded to me, but view an example would be excellent start if you don't know how to do that. And sometimes you see a video clips or animations for those problems as well. So this is how you master those questions that you do wrong on the test. Do you see how to do them now?
Yes. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. And once you've done that, then you can go and take a test again, and I'm sure you can get better.
Yeah. Definitely. Thank you.
Very good. Okay. Very good. So
I have a question. So we don't have to take the quiz, right? If we do practice.
when you do the study plan, you do retake the test to improve your grade. That's the only way you can show me that you learned it and you got a better grade. So if you get 80% or higher for each of those tests, you get the full credit, which is 40 points. If you get less than 80%, whatever percent you get would be the percent that you get out of that 40 points. So if you're happy with 50%, you get 50% of 40, you get 20 points at the end of the semester for that activity.
To get full credit,
80% or higher, at least 80%.
But you would have to submit it again. Is it going to be on 80% or up on 100%?
At the end of the semester, any of the exams are over 80%, they get 40 points. Okay, so you just have to shoot for 80%. Okay, very good. The composition maybe is on the third one. Let me double check. Maybe it's quiz test quiz number 3. Because somebody said the composition function is on. Okay, this is test number 3, practice test number 3. I don't see that. So let me see if it's on practice test 4. Maybe.
Professor, can you share your screen, please?
Okay, yes. Let me switch the screen. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, sorry. Okay, somebody, Latoya, are you in the car? You have your you have your
Do you see me?
yeah, you want to make, turn off your camera.
Okay, where is it? Okay, I'm gonna find it.
Okay, I can turn it off for you. Stop video. Okay, and then you should really be behind the computer when you participate. Okay. All right.
I know.
Okay, that's fine. All right, so let me go ahead and mute all once again. Yes, okay. Anybody was talking, you should turn on your microphone again. Okay, so let me share the screen. You're right, I wasn't showing the share, and this is what I was looking at. Okay, Yeah, so the composition function is like this one here, the one that I just did for you. See, in the practice final, it doesn't go in order. So composition function was related to actually test number 4, practice test number 4. That's where we talk about composition function. All right. So we'll just keep that as a backup there. Okay. So yeah, you're right. That was on practice test number 4. We just jumped ahead a little bit. I didn't pay attention. Yes, we're gonna go over need to. Okay, need help with 10%. Okay, which you want to tell me which problem exactly so I can work on that one? So we're relating to, is that practice test number 1 or 2? We go back to practice test number 2. Okay. So any of them. You're talking about the mixture problem, right? Yes. Okay. The mixture problem is kind of like this one here, right? This problem right there. And then mixture problem is actually the one we did last time. Let me go ahead and switch the page to this. Okay, we did mixture problem. This one. This was one of the mixture problem, and then let me move on to next one. Okay, this is also the 3 equations and 3 unknown. This is on chapter test number 2, isn't it? 3 equations, 3 unknown. And then let me see if there's any other mixture problem here. Okay, but let me go ahead and do the one about the solution. Okay, let's go ahead and let's do this one. New sharing. I'm not going to record this one because I've done it so many times already. But you're talking about like number 4, right? On practice test number 2. Is that kind of like the one that you're relating to? Yes. Okay. So let me actually copy that. Solving chapter 4. Yeah. So this is the one. Problem number 4 in the mixture problem is on chapter 4. Okay. So let me just do that for you. What I'm going to do is go back to paste them here for you and go over that. Okay. This is kind of like a problem that you're relating to, right? A little smaller. Is that it? Is that the kind of problem? New sharing, sorry about that. Okay, can you see that? Is that the one? You guys see his board, right? Yes, okay, very good. Okay, let's take a look at this problem. All right, I have, I'm not gonna record this one, like I said, because I already have it on record many times. All right, for this kind of problem, it says, let's see if there's a, go slow, sure. Okay, there are 2 different ways you can set this up. One is to set up like an illustration here. Okay, so here it says a chemistry lab assistant wants to prepare prepare 10 liters of 48% acid solution. So I'm going to make a little jar here. And on stock, we have two different solutions here. So this would be a good way to kind of show what we have and what we want to make. This is kind of would be, I refer that to like if you were going to make a punch for the party, and then this would be, instead of say the a chemistry lab assistant wants to prepare 10 liters of 48% acid solution. Let's say you want to make 10 liters of punch that has 48% alcohol in it. Okay, let's say that's the goal is for the party. And you go look around at home and you find two bottles. One says 80% proof alcohol. The other one says 40% on the bottle. So basically, very same thing we're doing. The chemistry lab assistant wants to prepare 10 liters of 48% acid solution. And on hand, we have two solutions. One is 80% strength and the other one is 40% strength. So for all these mixture problem, this would be a very good way to show what we have. Now, what we don't know is how much we're going to use, how much of these bottles we're going to pour in this punch bowl, how much of this we're going to pour in the punch bowl, okay? So there are two ways you can do this. You can call this X, and you can call this Y, because I don't know. Or you can call this X, instead of Y, you could say 10 minus X. Do you understand why 10 minus X? Because we cannot exceed 10, right? We cannot exceed 10. If I use X liter here, the rest must go from this bottle. Does that make sense? If I use 5 liters here, the rest of the, I cannot go over 10, so the rest must be 10 minus 5, which is 5, half. Okay? If I use 9, that would be 10 minus 9, so I put 1. Okay? Okay, good. So you followed so far. Very good. All right. So if you want to set up two equations and two unknown, you call it X and Y. If you force to have only one equations and one unknown, then you have to, instead of Y, you have to say 10 minus X. Since we, in chapter 4, we should know how to set up two equations and two unknown, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show both ways. I'm going to show two equations and two unknown. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this a little bit to the side so we can see this a little bit better. I'm going to move this up here. So my two equations, one equation would be X plus Y is equal to 10, right? That's one equation. Second equation would be the amount times the strength, which is 80%. What is 80%? Let's change it to percent. 80 divided by 100, right? Would be 0.8, right? Everybody agree with that? 40% would be 40 divided by 100 would be 0.4. 48% would be 48 divided by 100 would be 0.48. Okay, so would be 0.8 times X, amount times the strength. 0.8 times X plus. Now, if you want to use Y, okay, you can use Y, that's fine. Let's use Y times 0.4 or 0.4 times Y is equal to 10 amount times the strength, 0.48. These are my two equations and two unknown, really. I can use a substitution method or addition method to solve for this. But before I do anything, let's just go ahead and multiply 10 by 0.48, and looks like that gives you 4.8. Now, remember when you're solving two equations and two unknown, the best is to not have decimal. My first equation is X plus Y is equal to 10. The second equation is, let's multiply each term by 10 in the second equation, okay? So that becomes 8X plus 4Y is equal to 48. Okay, now I don't have decimal to deal with. These are my two equations. So if I use the substitution method, I'm going to use substitution method first. what I'll do is I can pick the first equation and solve x in terms of y or y in terms of x and plug it into the other equation. Okay, so let's say I want to pick y and solve it for x. So if I subtract x from both sides, what is y is equal to? 10 minus x. Isn't this what we said there here? Same thing, right? We did this on our head, really. When you say this is x, this is the rest of them, 10 minus x, we're really using substitution method here, but not knowing we're using substitution. So we're going to substitute for each y here, 10 minus x. So again, amount times the strength plus amount times the strength. And really what we do is go x times 8 plus 10 minus x times this is strength is equal to amount times the strength, which is 48. And we got rid of the decimal. So the only unknown here we have is x, right? So we can easily solve for this. 4x plus, that would be 40 minus, what is that? 4x is equal to 48. So 8x minus 4x would be what? 4x. Okay, so let's continue here. Would be 4x equal to 48. I'm going to move the 40 to the other side, minus 40. So 4x equal to 48 minus 40 would be 8. Divide both sides by 4. What is x? 2 liters. We got it. This is 2 liters. The rest must be 10 minus 2, which is 8 liters. So we must have 2 liters of 80%, 8 liters of 40% in order to get 10 liters of 48%. Now, when we were at this point here, okay, we could solve this equation by using addition method also, because we learned 3 different ways to do 2 equations that 2 unknown. We did substitution method. If I wanted to use addition, but before I get to addition, do you follow up to what we're doing so far? You can put in the chat box or say yes or no.
Yes.
Okay, good. So you follow up till this point. Very good. If we were going to use addition method instead, you could make the coefficient of x or y opposite of each other. Like let's say I want to make the coefficient of y opposite. So I have to multiply the top row by what? Okay, coefficient of y is
Y.
4, so I have to multiply top row by what? Negative 4, right? This becomes negative 4x minus 4y equals to minus 40, right? Okay, I'm going to leave the bottom one alone. 8x plus 4y equals to 48. See how the coefficient of y is opposite? If I add them up, what do I get? Minus 4x plus 8x equal to 4x equal to, if I add this, what do I get? 8. Same answer, right? Isn't this a little easier maybe? 2 liters, same thing. So and once you get first one, you can get the other one by plugging it back into either of those. 2 plus y is equal to 10. So y is equal to 10 minus 2, which is equal to 8 liters. Okay, so either use substitution method, or even if you didn't know how to set up 2 equations and 2 unknown, we could use the fact that amount times the strength plus amount times the strength is equal to amount times the strength. And then we assume the first one is x, the next one is 10 minus x, so we get it all the way to this point without knowing any system of equation, and then solve for it. That's how we did it with chapter 1 and 2, because we didn't know how to do system of equation back then. Now we know how to do the system of equation. We can set them up this way and either use substitution method or addition method. Do you follow that? Okay, you put in the chat box. Yes, okay, very good. Okay, so now that we know how to do that one, this I didn't record it because again, I did it last time and also it's on the record already. This one was in the final exam, and this relates to something you need to know for, I believe, chapter 4, right? Chapter 4, all about system of equations, okay? So let's take a look at that. All right, let's see how to set, when you have 3 equations and 3 unknown, you you want to pick the first two equations and eliminate one variable, and pick the last two equations and eliminate one. Let me record this one because we haven't done that one on this exact form. So you guys see the right screen, right? Okay, good. So let me go ahead and pause, resume recording. Okay, let's look at that. Okay, so I need to see communication here. So let me go ahead and erase everyone's check mark. Can I have a check mark in front of your name if you follow this problem here? Give it a minute to see who's with us and who's not. Okay, once again, I emailed every one of you who didn't do anything on my math test yet. Please, start working on my math test problems. Start with test number 2, anything related for chapter 4, start working and don't submit it. And then once you're done with chapter 5, then submit it to work on the study plan. We kind of reviewed one of the students' study plan, which is already also on record. Please keep working on the study plan and retake the test. Okay, Green, Aja, are you there? You need to put the check mark in front of your name. Okay, so you're good. Okay, I wanted to check some people's progress. Let me see those people who are. Let's see. Are you recording? Well, I did record that problem. I'm not recording anymore right now. What do you need? Do you have a question? I did record I record everything, all the problems except the mixture one, because the mixture one are here. If you click on this to recording, the same one I just did. But I am recording all the problems, yes. Okay, let me just see. So earlier I was calling some of the students, and I want to make sure that that we are okay. There were some students I really were concerned, and I need to see if I can find them. Once again, is Rebecca here today? Rebecca? No. Okay, another student I needed to talk to. Well, those people that are past due already emailed you. Let me see. Let's see who else here. Is Eric here? Eric Domingos? Eric, are you there here today? Eric, okay, Eric, I see you're here. You missed the class, Eric, last 2 meetings, is that right? Can you talk?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good. Eric, did you miss the class last 2 weeks?
I was in the class last week. The week before I did this, yes.
Okay, because according to my record, on Wednesday the 5th and Wednesday the 12th, it's absent in front of your name.
The 5th, I was not in the classroom. The 12th, I did call you after the class. I was actually one of the last ones to log out.
Okay, so you logged in late then, right?
No, I logged in on time. I actually called you after the class.
Okay, so I'm gonna make change one of these to present, so we know what you just need to improve your score on my math test, right? There.
Yeah, I'm working on that right now.
Very good. Okay, so you're good. My other person I was concerned was Johnson Ryan. Johnson, are you there? Johnson Ryan. Somebody texting. Let me see. Who's that? I'm doing my online test today. I wasn't able to log in last week. Okay. All right, that's fine. There are a few people that they didn't show up for like 2-3 consecutive days. Like Johnson. Okay, I think Johnson did email me and pick the option to continue with the course. Okay. But I don't see Johnson here online. I don't know. Is Johnson Ray's here? I don't see Johnson Ray on the list. Do you guys anybody see Johnson? No. Okay. All right. Another person I was concerned. I guess that's it. The rest of you like either missed it. And don't forget again, everybody log in. 15 minutes before the class starts. Forever another computer. All right. Good. Let's go ahead and new sharing, and go back to what it was right here. Okay. So everybody good with this problem here? You guys can see the board again, right? Okay. All right, let's look at the next problem on the list if that is related to what we're doing for next test. Is that it? Is this something that looks like you've been doing on chapter 2, 3, 4, or 5? Simplify. This was the 7th problem on the practice final. It's a simplified expression so that the negative exponents appear in the final result. Is this similar to what we did? You guys should somebody put in something on the chat box. No. Okay. So that's fine. If that's the case, we can move on and look at the next one. So we don't want to do. Let's look at the next one. How about this one? Dividing. I think you should know that one, right? Okay, a couple of people said no on that one. How about this is dividing polynomial? Is that something that we have on chapter either 2, 3, 4, or 5? Okay. And somebody says yes. Very good. Okay. Jasmine says yes. So we're going to leave Jasmine and do this one. Again, this problem is on the final. Looks like every semester they put that problem like this. And a lot of people get that wrong, not only on the final, also on the actual test. So this would be a good one to move on and do it. Okay. So let's go ahead and resume recording and talk about this one. Resume recording. Okay, I think I might have paused the session. So let me go over this one more time. Resume recording. I know a couple of people asking questions. Let's see what's the question. Okay, so you love these problems. Good. 5M. Good. All right. So let's go ahead. And I think somehow my recording was paused when I was going over it. I'm going to go over it one more time, kind of review, and also make sure that this will get recorded. Pause recording. So once again, when you divide by more than one term, like binomial or trinomial, you set up a long division. You would put m plus 6 here, and you write 5m squared plus 21m minus 54 here. Make sure these are in order, descending order. You ask yourself, what times m give you 5m squared? That would be 5. 5 times m would be 5m. M times m would be m squared, so it would be 5m squared. You need to distribute that with the next term here. 5 times 6 would be 30. You need to subtract here in order to find the remainder. To subtract, you need to distribute this minus here, or you can change the subtraction to addition and change this to its opposite sign. So as you can see, 5m squared minus 5m squared drops to 0. 21m minus 30m, they give you minus 9m. We bring 54 down. Then again, ask yourself, what times m give you minus 9m? It's minus 9. You distribute minus 9 with m plus 6. You record it down here. You get minus 9m. Minus 9 times 6 would be minus 54. You subtract to find the remainder. Change the subtraction to addition. Change the sign. In this case, you get the remainder of 0. If the remainder was not 0, the last term would be remainder over divisor. It would be like if the remainder was like 2, you have to go 2 over m plus 6 give you 2. Then that would, so when you see the last term is a fraction, remainder over divisor, means you have a remainder of that number. So it looks like here would be 5m minus 9, and looks like D is the correct choice there. Okay, here we have to factor we have 8a cubed minus 27b cubed. Looks like we have a difference of cubed. So when you have two terms, plus or minus in between, you have to ask yourself, do I have a difference of cubed? Can I cube something to get this number here, basically? Well, a is pretty obvious. A cubed would be a cube. How about 8? 8 is perfectly cubed, right? Which is 2 times 2 times 2. So your first term is 2a. If I cube 2a, I get 8 cubed, right? How about the second term? B is obvious. How about 27? 3 times 3 times 3. So 3 is also perfectly cubed. So your first term is 2a. Your second term is 3b. So now I need to know my formula. If I have a cubed minus b cubed, anybody remember how to factor this? You open two parentheses. You put a here, and you put b here. You put a squared here. You put b squared here. Anybody remember the middle term? The middle term would be ab, not 2ab, just ab. Okay, now this sign here matches the sign always. If this is minus, this is minus. If this is plus, this is plus. If this is minus, all the terms here would be plus. So have to remember that. So you have two of them that you have to remember. A cubed minus b cubed, a cubed plus b cubed. And it's very simple to memorize this because the terms are exactly the same for both of them. It would be ab, and then here would be a squared, b squared, a squared, b squared, and middle term would be ab. And as for the sign, if this is minus, this is minus. If this is plus, this is plus. If this is minus, everything else is plus. If this is plus, the sign altered between plus and minus would be plus, minus, plus. You need to memorize this too in order to do difference or sum of cubed. So in this case, your first term is 2a. You put 2a here. Your second term is 3b. The sign is minus in between. Here you take the first term and you square it. You take 2a and you square it. The last term would be you take 3b and you square it. And we know all the signs should be positive. The middle term would be 2a times 3b. And again, all the sign here we know is positive. So to factor this would be 2a minus 3b. That would be 4a squared plus 6ab plus 9b squared. That's how you factor that. Well, let's see which one is matching the solutions here. Looks like that. Looks like C is the right one. C. Yep, C is the correct one. Okay, here we want to solve for x. The first step is to see if we can factor this. 3x cubed plus 14x squared plus 16x is equal to 0. Looks like I have x in common here, and that's about it. This is 3. 14 doesn't go to 3. Okay, so we only have x in common. So this becomes 3x squared plus 14x plus 16. Okay, now I need to see if I can factor this. Okay, so I'm going to open two parentheses. That's trinomial. 3x squared. For x squared would be x and x, obviously, right? I can use the trial and error method. For 3, I'm going to put 3x and 1x. Okay, so you're looking for two numbers. When you multiply them together, you want to get 16. But when we multiply the two closest terms and two furthest terms, should add up to 14x. So anybody wants to guess what would be for 16? What are the possibilities? 1 and 16, 2 and what? 2 and 8, 2 and 8. Okay, in the chat room, we have 12 and 2. Somebody asked for 12 and 2. You want to do 12 times 2? That 12 times 2 doesn't give you 16. What's that?
It doesn't, it's not good.
Yeah, 12 and 4 doesn't work. So let's see any other solutions. 12 and 2, 3x and 8. Somebody says. What's that?
4 and 4.
4 and what? 4 and 4?
Yeah.
That would be another possibility. Okay. One of these would work. You're going to get 14, but you can also look at the results. First of all, we need to have three answers here, right? X is equal to 0 would be one answer we already found, right? X equal to 0 is one solution. So looks like one of these might be the solution, right? Either this one or this one. Both of these has 0 in there, right? So the solution here they're giving us is maybe 8 and 2. You want to try 8 and 2? See if it works? Because it's 8 third kind of suggests that might be 8 and 2 would be the one that you want to try first, perhaps. So that would be, if I put 8 here and 2 here, if I multiply the two closest term, I get 2x. If I multiply the two furthest term, what do I get? 24. Can I make 14 out of that? No, right? No. So what that means is sometimes you can switch this around. You can put 8 over here, 2 over here. It's called trial and error, right? So that give you 8x. Okay, so that would be 8x. I give you 6x, right? So if I put here 6x, can I get 14? Yeah. See, I just switched it around and it became the right combination. 8 times 2 is 16, so everything should be plus here. 8x plus 6x, I give you definitely 14. So that's the right factor. So we're done. We say x is equal to 0, one solution, or 3x plus 8 is equal to 0. It means 3x is equal to negative 8. So x equal to negative 8 over 3. Or x plus 2 is equal to 0. X equal to negative 2. So it looks like x equal to negative 2, 0, and minus 8 over 3. C should be the correct choice here for us. Here we have f is equal to 9 over 5 c plus 32. So we have f. This is Fahrenheit. When you convert it to the Celsius, that's the formula we use. Here it says 4c. You want to solve for c, basically. Solve for c. So you want to isolate c. To isolate c, I'm going to subtract 32 from both sides of the equation. So I get f minus 32 is equal to 9 over 5c. To solve for c, I need to eliminate that 9 over 5. The reciprocal of that would be 5 over 9. So let's multiply both sides by 5 over 9. 5 over 9. So pretty much this is my answer. We isolated the c. So c is equal to 5 over 9 times f minus 32. I can distribute this 5 over 9, but let's see if we have to. See, maybe we have this answer here. Here you have 5 over 9 times f minus 32 right there. I don't have to do anything. This is one of the answer already in that form. Or you could distribute this. You could 5f over 9, and then you could multiply that 5 by 32, right? Minus 160 over 9, and so on. This would be another way to write it. But since I have this answer right there, I can just pick that and stop. Here we have cube root of minus 8, 8 to the power of 8, b to the power of 13. So you need 3 of a kind here in order to remove it from the radical. Negative 8, is that the cube root of something? Can I write this as negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2? Yeah, definitely that would be equal to negative 8, right? So here what I have really is cube root of negative 2 cubed. Now, a to the power of 8, can I make this cube root of something? A to the power of 3, another a to the power of 3, that would be total of 6, and then another 2, give me 8. 3 plus 3, 6 plus 2 is 8. So you want to have as many 3 of a kind are possible here, so I can move this out of the radical. B to the power of 13. I can write b to the power of, what's the number below 13, which is factor that. Let me, since I already started that, let's just finish it and then we'll talk about that. So here, b to the power of 13, can I write that as something to the multiple of 3? 12 would be multiple of 3, right? So I can write as b to the power of 12 times b to the power of 1. Okay, so now this here would be cube root of negative 2 to the power of 3. That would be just simply negative 2. This one here would be cube root of a cubed. That would be just a. As long as you have 3 of a kind, you can move it out from the radical. This one would be just a. 12 would be b to the power of, really is 12 divided by 3, which is 4. The rest stay under the radical, which is this one here. We only have 2 of them. And the b is only have 1 of them. So there we have minus 2 a squared b to the 4 times cube root of a squared b. Okay, let's see if that is one of the choices here. Minus b a squared b to the 4 looks like that is a. A is the correct answer there for that one.